Well, now, like, going back to the high school part and going into university. Now, obviously, you have this unwavered passion for wildlife, and then you follow a science degree instead of like a business degree. So, was your plan after high school? Hey, I'm gonna go down, like, I want to be a scientist. Is that what it was, or was there a chance that you'll go into like guiding or ecotourism or any kind of business like your grandfather or anything like that? Like, what was the decision to follow that science path?
Well, there's a couple factors. First of all, Andrew, it was the only thing I was ever good at. Right? Was animals. I was never very good. I sucked at maths. I sucked at English. Like I still can't even draw a stick figure. So it was really the only thing that I was good at was studying animals. And I've always been very sort of mono-focused like that, where there's one thing that I'm interested in and I give everything to it. So I came out of high school, whatever, I got into college, but I knew that I was going to study wildlife. I didn't know if I was going to be an academic. I think deep down I thought I was going to go back to Zimbabwe and become a guide, but honestly that ship has sailed. That life is over. And I just knew that I wanted to learn more about wildlife. Going back to that sort of earthworm analogy, I still wanted to know about it. And being a safari guide, and I'll stand by this and I'll probably get some hate for it, you're never going to meet a scientist who has a better behavioral understanding of wildlife than safari guides or people that are with those animals every day. But There's a big difference between having a behavioral understanding and having like an academic intrinsic understanding. Yep. And so I didn't really have the option to have that behavioral day-to-day understanding and exposure. So instead, I opted for the academic one. That was like the next best thing. And I don't say that to down credit academia at all. It was just, for me, it was like, okay, I can't go in the bush every day. How can I still be around animals? Well, if I go to UC Santa Barbara, I sign up for the Marine Bio and the HERP program. I can see pickled things in the museum every day. I can tinker with them. I can learn all the stuff I want. And I did. I was a curator at CBER, which is the Cheadle Center for and ecological restoration at UCSB for like 3 years, and I pickled every snake I could find and every roadkill and every shark, and it was awesome. I loved it. So it was just sort of a different route that I think ultimately was going to lead to the same thing for me.
So your goal was just to always be around animals. That was the key.
100%.
Whether they were pickled or alive, that was the goal, is just how can I maximize my exposure to discovering animals and following them and just being around them.
And just understanding them and just learning more about them in every facet, academically, behaviorally, you name it. But just understanding them to the best of my ability. And I still do it. We talked about being the weird kid. I used to read field guides for fun. The last field guide that I read for fun was Dave's newest shark book, I swear. But I used to literally thumb through field guides, like before Pokemon was a thing. So I think Pokemon came out when I was like in college already. Before Pokemon was a thing, I could look through a field guide and tell you the Latin name and its superpower and how strong it was and its bite force. And, that was like my version of Pokemon as a kid. And that just contributed to making me weird. So, it was just that for me, it was just always about understanding and learning as much about these things as I could.